Ni hao, which is Stephanie. I have had a very humbling 1 hour of studying from the reading book. Holy cow, did I get some things incredibly wrong. First of all, ni hao, this is Stephanie. I already said that. This is Changing Scripts. Thank you for joining us. I'm fully unprepared to be on camera because I just had a wah moment where I realized I made some massive mistakes already in introducing this book. So I'm going to quickly just put the book up, on a little pedestal thingy, figuratively and otherwise, and then I can show you what I'm talking about here. I do not have, the ability to do multiple videos, so I'll try to get this in here. So the other day, probably yesterday, I said that there's two things here, two bits here. One is with the pinyin and one is without. Man, oh man, did I get that wrong. It took just a few minutes of matching these. Well, after studying the vocabulary, it took just a few minutes of matching these to realize these characters here probably say simplified Chinese and I'm guessing traditional Chinese. So yeah, I don't actually need the bottom one at all. Although looking at that gives us an idea, because I circled the ones that were simplified in the top and like here, and traditional in the bottom. So that's actually a huge overlap between the two. So that's reassuring, but I also don't need that. So if we expand out, again, there's 4 pages per lesson, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm only still on the first 2 pages. I've put all the vocabulary, and actually there's 30 characters on this page. Actually, I can't really show you that well, so I'm just going to describe it. And there it tips over. Okay, so there's 30, on the left page there's 30 characters, and on the right page there's 30 words that use those 30 characters. So there was clarity in that. I finally did go back and read the preface. And it's amazing what happens when you read instructions. Not something I'm used to doing, but I so want to do this right that I made sure that I went back and read kind of how the thing is structured, because I still don't understand part of the second page. I think the words that you probably just saw when I flashed by it, or not the words, the sentences are probably sentences of the words, not just of the characters, because of course why would you have random characters unless those were the characters, which there are characters that are words. Have I confused you yet? I feel confused. So with each lesson, up until lesson 10, with each lesson there's one sentence, 30 new characters, 30 new words based on those characters, and one complete sentence using all of them. They're supposed to be the most frequent, I don't actually need these anymore, they're supposed to be the most frequent words used in the language, and it sounds like they're considering speaking and writing, so I don't know how they would get that if we're like geeking out about corpus linguistic stuff. So I think it would be relatively different if you were doing speaking and writing. But you know what? I go back to the whole thing of my vocabulary is so low that even if it's one of the two, speaking or writing, or there's an overlap between the two in the Venn diagram of where they match, I still need this vocabulary. And already, there's some pretty cool stuff in here. I do need these again, because apparently, like months are super easy, right? Like January is E, which is 1. I always forget the tone for E. E is Yue, and Yue is like day or month. And so it's like 1 month. And then February's are Yue. So it's, and I know Yue is, I'm still struggling with that, the pinyin there, but that's 2 month. So they do that with the months. So that's super easy to remember. And then days is a little more complicated, and I fought a little bit with putting days into pleco. There's a difference between pleco and the book characters for days, so I have to investigate that tomorrow when I have more bandwidth after, because I've been studying these for about an hour, and so I'm not in a fresh place to investigate why they're different. But the cute thing I really liked is that every day is, and I don't remember the tone for Tian, hold on. Oh no, it's the flat tone. I suck at that one. But basically TN, TIAN with the whatchamacallit, flat tone. I forget everything. Falling, rising, flat, that one. So, but that's day, and then every day is TN, TN. So it's the same character twice. And that means every day. I'm going to try to show you this one. Do you see it? Oh my god. This one here. It looks like two trees together. And there's a shadow. Well, that didn't work out well. But I think that's really cute. I like languages that utilize repetition. Like I remember, whoever speaks Bahasa Malay, please feel free to correct me on this. But if I remember correctly, buka is the word for book, and then multiple books, like plural, like books, obviously books with an S, is buka buka. And I love that because that's so easy. There, you don't have to remember special spellings for some things, not special spellings for other things and things like that. Like we have in English with SES and all this other stuff that gets added and subtracted and blah. So I like TNTN, even if I can't say it with the right tones yet. Also, every month is the one I have a hard time saying, Yue. It's just month twice. I like that. I really, really like that. These are not cemented in my head. As you can see, I'm looking at the book to say them. So, but I feel like I'm somewhat engaging with the characters when I see that, and when it reminds me of the other language that I know very few words in, but it makes connections, and connections are the things that help us remember. Yay. Okay, so yeah, that's it. I'm desperately trying to finish my Sensible Chinese course because I feel like I've gotten most of the tools that he has to give us, but there's a few more drips and drabs in a few more videos left, but the internet at my hotel could not be bad. It is Tuesday, so let's see how long it takes me to upload this video. It's Tuesday, what is it, September 26th? Wow, October's almost here. Anyway, so that's how bad the Wi-Fi is. I'm convinced I probably won't even be able to upload this until Saturday because, oh my gosh, it's really bad. So we'll see what happens with that. But I did want to do a quick update on this. As far as lesson 1 goes, there's 25 lessons in the book. This will take me all year. It's September, so that's not really that long. But I've got all but 1, 2, 3. I've got all but 3 words in the Pleco flashcard deck for this lesson. Actually, it's for the whole book, but since I'm on lesson 1, it's only this lesson. So I've got them in there. There'll be time, space, repetition doing it, and I'll be going through, I'll be using the little flashcards on the bottom of the second page. Also, I really like just looking at those and trying to remember what they mean. And then tomorrow, I'll move on to do some of the grammar stuff. Yes, you saw me cringe. The grammar stuff on page 3, and the exciting part is the exercise on page 4. I have read the sentence associated with this lesson about 3 times out loud. It sounds awful, but some of the words are kicking in. There's a lot of numbers in it, but I don't really understand what the sentence means yet. It might be an introduction because it starts out, I am female friend, something, something, and then tons of numbers. So I think they might be saying, I'm a woman of this age or born on this date, that kind of thing, I think, but I'm not really sure yet. So if you know, please do not tell me yet. Do not put it in the comment section. I do want this to come as the meaning comes organically instead of translating like what I just did. So yeah, so there's that. So I'm pretty excited that I can match the characters. The structure of the sentence doesn't seem to be too complicated yet, so I appreciate the authors doing that. And I think, honestly, if I touch this book every day this week, it's Tuesday, so that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If I do that, I feel like I can get through this sentence with, really bad tones and with repetition to keep it in my brain. But I feel like I can do that. I feel like a sentence a week with this much vocabulary is really doable, and I'm really liking the idea of this book. So what they're doing is they're doing a sentence per lesson until lesson 10, and then lesson 10 combines all those sentences to read an article. So it really, really breaks things down in a way that makes you feel motivated and like you're doing something that builds up to something. So I'm pretty excited to get to lesson 10, but I'm in no rush. I'm learning words now, people. I'm learning words. I can't see a conversation where this would come out. I can't think of a newspaper article other than the beginning. Well, actually, now that I think about it, thinking of the reading newspaper goals, when would I see months and days and time reference words? Actually, that would be really common. What am I thinking about? So that would be really helpful when it talks about time and events and things like that. Actually, that's incredibly helpful. Now that I think about it, I was thinking, oh, how often do you introduce yourself and say the year you were born? But that's not really the point. I'm going to stop now while I'm ahead and, do a little bit of relaxing and pat myself on the back for moving forward, despite being intimidated by all of the multilingual folks that are still around me. I joined that language mix group on WeChat, and I watch them now every day talk about all the languages that they speak and all the projects they're working on and all of the meetups that they go to and speak so many languages. And I'm trying not to be intimidated. I'm trying to be inspired. But yeah, I don't know if that's working. But I'm going to keep going. I'm so going to keep going. Because someday I want to go to one of these conferences and be able to speak more than English. All right. 再见. Good night.